Webster Dictionary defines affirmative action as the effort to improve the employment and educational opportunities of women and members of minority groups through preferential treatment in job hiring, college admissions, the awarding of government contracts, and the allocation of other social benefits. Shelby Steele from the Washington Post stateside, it is important to remember that the original goal of affirmative action was to achieve two redemptions simultaneously. As society gave preference to its former victims in employment and education, it hoped to redeem both the victims and itself. Today I'm going to address why affirmative action is no longer necessary in the 21st century society and to persuade you to withdraw your support from the program that gives unequal privileges to others based purely on skin color and gender. To start off, our country's stained history of past racial and gender oppression is beyond horrible, and minorities have worked really hard to establish dignity and fairness in society. And these programs have served their purpose, but the time has come to try something else. These programs no longer work in society. They aren't making society more equal. Equality in academics should be based on academic credentials, and equality in the workforce should be based on just that, how qualified you are for a job. They shouldn't be based on skin color or gender. Why is that even necessary to apply for anything? Companies, universities, and institutions are obsessed with trying to meet quotas and percentages to prove that they're not discriminating. But in doing just that, they're discriminating on a whole different populations of people just to get these desired numbers. An example of this would be in the field of mechanical engineering. Women represent 18.2% of all bachelor enrollees and 22% of all master enrollees, 21% of doctor enrollees. But women take up 50.8% of all the U.S. population. Now, if affirmative action were to be established in a company, they would have to give 50.8% of all jobs, of mechanical engineering jobs, to females, when only 18.2% of the graduating class is female. That is obviously discriminating against the males that are much more plentiful of them, so they can't even find a job now. The dispute over affirmative action has gone on long enough. Shelby Steele again, this guy, says that America's war over affirmative action has gone on longer than any of the other military conflicts. Why hasn't there been an agreement made is the real question. Is there really still need to prove legitimacy in these institutions? Experts agree that these programs have restored moral authority and legitimacy. Would you agree that Americans have learned from the horrible history of our past ancestors? And has society learned to view others equally? These programs are causing and worsening racial and gender tension in society. According to Stanford graduates David Steele and Peter Thiel, affirmative action was originally conceived as a means to redress discrimination. Racial preferences have instead promoted it. And rather than fostering harmony and integration, preferences have divided the campus, and in no other area but public life is there a greater disparity between the rhetoric of preferences and the reality. Also, after 25 years of affirmative action, it has not succeeded in ending discrimination. Perhaps it's time to try something else. The claim that these programs promote diversity in institutions wouldn't be accurate either. Every individual is just that, an individual. As diversity shouldn't be based upon gender or race either. Steele and Thiel also claim that if diversity were really the goal, then preferences would be based on unusual characteristics, not one's gender or race. This would lead to a more colorblind and gender-equal society, which wasn't that the original goal. Like Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I look to a day when people will not be judged on their skin, but by the content of their character." Through the explanations of these programs, I hope you as an audience realize the truth of these programs, and me, as a Hispanic female, see that there was once a need for such programs in society, as racial discrimination has a long history here in the United States. But it's the 21st century, and with a difficult job market and poor economic situation at hand, every applicant should be given a fair and equal consideration. Thank you for your time.